Everyone, I just want to show you the next round, hopefully maybe 2 or maybe 3 more videos, and then we'll wrap this up. I really want to wrap this up this week and have you guys start working on your own personal prop, character, architecture, you name it. We're going to be quite open for the last project. But I did want to show you the Cricut so far. Again, this is only an hour and a half of modeling. You guys have definitely surpassed me in some of the modeling. And so again, I want you guys to spend at least 8 hours in ZBrush before you jump into what I did. And the next process is start to color the rest of the Grasshopper. And I showed you in the last couple tutorials how to prep that material. And so far we just kind of started with the face. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but you can see a little bit of the texturing of what we did with dirtying up and the crevices and curvature and so forth. So this isn't perfect. We're going to go back and the next couple of tutorials and we're going to start sculpting these lines in a little bit more so there's a little bit more texture. All right. Again, we're going to focus on this area, the wings, the rear section, and also maybe a little bit of this mid corridor right here, and also obviously the leg right here. All right, and in the previous tutorials, I showed you how to kind of fix these 3 forms, and I did go through and soften it on the first one. I think you kind of know how to do that, so I'm not going to waste screen time showing you how to soften those edges. But I think it is kind of key, so when you go to project, it's not such a hard line when we project it. But I'm going to be lazy and kind of bypass that step. But please try to work on that. On this one, I haven't finished it out, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that really quickly and hit my Alt and start knocking down some of these harsh lines, trying to kind of average it out and also take out those white highlights, so it doesn't look like there's a reflection or an edge. All right, so I'm just kind of going here and taking several different angles, and it looks like that could be kind of cool, whatever that is. I'm going to kind of leave that in there. It looks like a kind of a interesting shape. Okay, and I'm just trying to knock down these white highlights and anything that has a hard edge. So this has a hard edge right here, so I'm just going to kind of soften it up, kind of create kind of a asymmetrical or not a continuous line here. I'm just going to kind of break it up, soften it up here. Okay, and then this is definitely a ridge line, so just kind of pull it out so it's not so straight. Again, we've got a whole bunch of white highlights here. I'm just going to kind of break this down, and this is definitely needs to be softened up so it's not okay. And I'm kind of making this muddy, so I think I'm on a flow rate or opacity of 58, so play around with that so it's not so muddy. I'm not, basically what I'm saying is I'm not doing the best job here on my blending. Okay, and then this is definitely a hard ridge line here. There definitely needs to be a hard ridge line in our sculpt, and but we don't want to showcase 2 hard edge lines with a fake decal or a fake ridge line, so we're just going to kind of take this out. Again, I would, you guys have the luxury of time. I'm just doing this on the fly, so definitely soften off those edges, and there could be a quick way. I thought there was where you can grab the edges of this and soften it with a feather tool, but wasn't able to have any success with that. All right, anything where it's super dark, this looks kind of organic, kind of flow to it, so there's no like harsh lines. All right, and what you want to do is not create mud. Again, these are just kind of a kind of like a sticker or a placemat that we're putting these colors in. Okay, so I have, this is the mid torso, this is the leg area, and also the wing. So I'm going to go ahead and save each of these. I think the others are already saved. This one has been updated. So now I'm going to go into my Substance. Again, with Substance, I definitely want you guys to get into the habit of saving this file every half hour. It automatically saves a kind of a backup if it crashes. It'll have a temporary one, but I would do every half hour, save one, even every hour once these start getting really, really heavy, because these will start getting into the gigabyte file and will cause some stress on your computer. I know I only have like 6 to 9 gigabyte left on my hard drive, believe it or not. And I only have this computer for a month, so it tells you how much stuff I have on my computer. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and look at our different layers, and I think we just did a new layer here. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a new layer. I'm just gonna use the dump tool here. Actually, I'm gonna Apple Z that and create a new paint. Okay, very similar to the one below. And we're going to import our textures. So we're going to go up here. You may not be able to see the recording up here, but at the very, very top, we're going to go to File, and we're going to import in our resources. Again, that's under File if you don't see that at the very top. And we're going to add resources. And we're going to go to my Grasshopper, not the dumpster, we've already done that. And we're going to go to our decals. And you can call it whatever you want. It doesn't need to be decals. I'll try to talk up a little bit louder. I know I'm getting tired and I get softer in my voice. So let's go ahead and do the torso and the leg and torso and go ahead and get that started. And again, we want this as a project or current session, either or however you want to see it. And we're going to see disregarded. I'm going to hit yes. I don't know what that meant. So let's see. I think it's showing up here, but we're going to go to projects and we can see our face and eye. And we may have to import it again. Alphas, it's not showing up. Textures. It should be showing up here and it's not. So let's import that again. Leg and mid-torso. I guess that question that it asked. I didn't tell it to be a texture, sorry. My mistake. So we're going to do Project Grasshopper. Make sure you define it as a texture. I think that was my problem. All right, so we do have it in here. I'm going to go to my textures and see if it shows up right here, my leg, which basically looks like Buffalo Wild Wings. And it's not Tuesday, so it's not Tuesday free 2-for-1 night, so kind of sad. All right, so we're going to go to, again, we did add a paint layer, and you guys have done this before. And we are not doing height or rough or metal or normal. I think we're just doing color, and I could be wrong, so it could be vice versa. So we're going to go ahead and add our base color to that, and basically we're going to do a stencil or project it on there like we did before for the face. All right, and I don't want my height or my rough or my metal or anything like that, because we're going to go back and we're going to start sculpting that out in a little bit different way. So I'm going to go ahead, and again, we make sure that red line is on, and right up here, this is the symmetry tool. You're going to kick yourself if you don't have that symmetry tool on, because you're going to have to do it on the other side. So don't want to rinse and repeat this process. So I'm going to kind of angle it like so. I'm going to go ahead and get my projection tool on. And you saw me that I put on the painting, I put the leg in the wrong spot. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off again, rinse and repeat, and drag my color in there. And I'm sorry, I screwed that up. All right, so you guys know how to adjust this. All right, I'm going to maybe go a little bit more side. And remember, we softened up those edges. Okay, I'm just going to kind of make it big and try to get this to fit in there as best as possible. And I think we're just going to go sideways here. I was going to try to do a top view. All right, so this is totally lining up different than before. Again, the reason why is because this is an artistic impression. This isn't directly related to our model. So I've got an alpha channel already selected from the previous thing, and we're going to go ahead and paint this on. And again, don't worry about how this is being shown. Again, we're going to paint on top of this, so don't worry about these edges and so forth. And we've got a little bit of white. I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of scoot this up and going to kind of paint all the way over. All right, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to jump out of this and just kind of alt and look around. We've got some smearing and so forth, so we could go to a top view here, and I'm going to go back to my top view here, and I'm going to zoom out, and you can kind of see that smearing. We don't really want that smearing effect, so I'm just going to go to my top view, and that's why we duplicated it, so we have some good information. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint again. Maybe it'll smear it again. So I'm just kind of painting on top of here. Doing some weird stuff, but again, it's I think the flow rate is 100%, so it should be putting new material in there. All right, so I'm gonna go to the side again. I think we're just going to go ahead and turn that off. And so, not perfect, not giving us highest resolution images, but again, giving us a little bit of tapestry, a little bit of some color to kind of give us a hint of what this could look like. And I know it's totally not 100%, but this is going to give us a starting point once we get into the painting process and also the textures, because we know right here we want micro bumps, okay? So we're going to go ahead and import the rest of our resources. So we're going to import resources. And again, this is supposed to be quick. I'm going in really quick. I'm like literally doing this on the fly. We're going to do the mid-torso, and I'm also going to hit the wing and tail. I'm going to hit my command button. I think you can shift, not do a shift, but a command. When I hit open, it'll bring both of those in. Again, remember I forgot this last time and it gave me the middle finger. So texture, and we're going to go ahead and project Grasshopper, and it should bring it up into the import section. So if I go to textures, it also showed up there. So let's just keep going. And I forgot to use the chicken wing torso, so we can go back and do that. So let's go ahead and do that. I don't know if I want to do it as a separate layer, but I want to go ahead and keep it on this layer so it's just a little bit easier. All right, so I'm going to try to, again, make sure up here that we're on symmetry. You're going to kill yourself if you have to redo this whole thing. Again, we want to churn this, and I forget how you do it. Let's see, it's not Alt, it's Control, Command, or S. All right, so S, if you hold S, it will churn that over. Also, you can also middle mouse with S and get that lined up, all right? So you want to try your best to kind of line that up as best as you can. And you can see just my modeling is way off. So you can see that my knuckle is way up here and it's ending. So I'm just going to kind of keep kind of shifting it around. And then I'm going to also use my Alt and I kind of zoom in a little bit. All right, this is totally not going to fit on there perfectly. Again, we're just trying to get some color onto the surface. All right, so you can just see I'm just going to rub. I feel like I'm doing like a marinade or chicken rub on the surface. And so you can start to see my lines are showing through, but not the decal. All right, so we have a lot of white here. Don't worry about that. We're gonna paint over that, so don't get excited. We'll be able to fix that. Again, we're just rubbing some color onto that surface. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off, and I'm gonna kind of look at it from a surface. And so you can see my ridge lines, but again, the decal is not showing those ridge lines because we went into Photoshop and kind of blurred that out. All right, so far we're starting to get some interesting colors on there. We haven't done any lifting at all. We're just completely cheating by using that. So totally down here, we're gonna look at our photo and we're gonna start coloring that with a brush, okay? We could still just keep doing the same techniques and get more color, but I definitely wanna show you guys how to do this with a brush. All right, so we've done that. We're gonna go ahead and create another new paint layer, and we're gonna continue on. And we're gonna do about 8 more minutes, and then I've gotta stop and work on another project. All right, so we've got that turned on and off. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and looks like this is still on, and I'm gonna go ahead and dump a new one. So I guess the projector thing is you're actually dumping on your image on there and it's going to your layer. So I didn't realize that. So you can turn that on and off, and we're going to change our base color to the tail and the wings. So I'm going to drag that over, and remember how we used S and we can kind of snap that. You can actually hit shift and snap it back to that original position. All right, so I'm going to kind of work back to this back area. And this one's going to be tricky because we have that stupid leg in the way. And so we're going to just do our best and just kind of position it and just kind of paint the best we can. All right, so I'm just going to, and we feathered it out, you remember? And then I'm just going to go ahead and paint. All right, again, it won't look perfect, but again, we're just kind of getting some colors in there, and you can start to see my edging that I've done with how we dirtied it up before with the generator tool, and so you can see that going through. Now if I went over the leg, we don't want that, so I hit Command Z, and again just try to paint the best you can here. Again, do not hit that leg. I'm just trying to see how far I can take it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is hit my Alt and kind of zoom in and just kind of do a funny angle here and just add some tone. All right, it's totally not hitting it. Try coming from the back side. Let's see, maybe the back side will work. Ah, there we go. All right, again, don't get too fussy with it because all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn off my color real quick. I forgot how you turn that off. I'm just gonna go up to that layer. All right, so there is a lot of stuff that didn't hit here. So I'm just gonna kind of maybe leave it, I don't know. I don't know why it's not putting any color or texture in there. So I'm gonna go, and I don't know how to mask. I don't want to get too advanced with this, but masking would have probably helped out too. So I'm gonna hit my S and kind of zoom in, just so we can hit S and middle mouse and try to see if I can just try to throw some color in there. It looks like there's a lot of black. All right. Boy, that is weird why it's not turning to a color here. All right. I'm not going to worry about it. All right, so just behind the leg, for some reason, that color is not coming through. All right, so you can start to see we have some colors coming through. If we go back to our Photoshop file, we can see kind of like that's kind of bland. Not a lot of information there, but we're doing our best. All right, so let's go ahead and try the wing. The wing is my nightmare. I have no idea if this is going to work. So we're going to go to an ortho view, the kind of a top view, and I'm holding down shift to kind of constrain that. And I'm going to try to see if I can just paint on one side, and I think it's going to kind of skew. Again, we got these stupid legs in the way that are going to be kind of problematic. So we're going to go back and I'm going to do a new layer, new paint layer. I've got that selected. And I think we have our wings on there automatically. So I'm going to hit S and zoom out. We've done this before, and I'm going to kind of get this in a straight line and try to get it to fit in that area. Okay, again, we're just going to throw some color on it. I think we're going to have to do a lot more brush work. All right, I think we're just trying to get to the top here, and you can see me painting it. It's doing symmetry. So it's having a hard time with stuff that's close to that. So I may have to do some real quick research on why it's doing that. All right, and I'm going to go to a side view. And I'm going to go to that bigger one that I created. Let's see if and I may have to go to no, actually, I like what that was. All right, so I'm going to go and turn that off. And again, not sure why that is shadowing. Why I'm not able to project into that area. So I have to do a little bit of research why that is happening. So you can see my wings kind of not showing off that well. Let's try it. Let's see if we can do it from a side view. See if we can get more material on there. All right, so I'm going to stop there on that. Turn off that layer. Okay, so we can start to see if we can get some information on there pretty quickly. Again, something is being casted on here, so there may be a button that I have that is not allowing me to project on there. But again, we're going to do our own painting and fill in that area. So the last bit that we have is this area right here, and we had that on a separate layer. And I'm going to go ahead and do this all in one layer since the wings are pretty close. So it's the mid-torso, so I'm going to dump that on there. And the mid-torso is a lot of information, right? So we hit S, hit my shift, and S, and hit S and middle to get that out into the open there. All right, so this is kind of a weird area, and I should probably be looking a lot more at my image, my reference image. All right, I'm probably not talking loud enough. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to get material on there so it has some sort of reference. All right, so we know in here, whoop, don't do that. I'm just gonna kind of add that in here. All right, not going too far, and you can see that those white edges, and that's why I wanted you guys to soften it so it's not showing up so much white. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and select that off. All right, again, not perfect. We should have a hard, we're gonna make a ridge line for our wings, but we have some color in here that's not what we had before. So not bad. So if we got from a distance here and we held our shift, you can see from a distance, that looks almost realistic, and we haven't even done a lot. We're just doing a lot of projection mapping on here. So obviously we need to do a lot of work in here, a lot of body cavity work in here where it's darker, and then a lot of painting to kind of float this stuff out so it's not such a harsh line. All right, so that'll be the next tutorial. And again, it's iteration after iteration after iteration on how to make that look perfect. So if I spin this around, again, make sure that symmetry tool is on. All right, I'm gonna stop for now. And again, on the next tutorial, it'll be a little bit more in depth on how to paint and use what we have to make it work for us. All right, good luck, guys. I think you guys are doing 10 times better than me, but again, looking pretty good just based on some simple photos. All right, good luck. Bye.